Call to order the Architectural Board of Review for December 8th, 2025. Start with roll call, please.
Thank you. I'll proceed with roll call. Chair Anderson.
Here.
Vice Chair Whalen.
Here.
Board Member Anderson.
Here.
Board Member Noon.
Here.
Board Member Six. Board Member Sovereign.
Here.
We have quorum.
Okay, we'll move to item A, general business, public comment. Any member of the public may address the board for up to 2 minutes on any subject that is not on today's agenda.
Thank you, Chair Anderson. I'll start with in-person public comment. At this time, I do not have any slips for general public comment. If anyone wishes to make a comment, they may fill one out and bring it to me. I see no one in the audience moving to do so, so we will turn our attention to virtual general public comment. And at this time, I do not see any hands raised for general public comment virtually. And we did not receive any written correspondence for general public comment. So I thought I will turn it back over to you, Chair Anderson.
Okay, we will close general public comment and move on to the approval of the minutes from the meeting on December 2nd, 2025. That was last week.
Motion to approve?
Okay, I'll second. Any discussion?
I would just like to add that I would support member 6 and Noon's no votes on the item for 105 Harbor.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we will take the minutes.
Chair Anderson?
Hold on one second. We are reviewing the minutes for December 2nd, last week.
Reviewed October 27th?
October
No, so-
27th.
We have not. No.
Okay.
Okay, so, sorry, there's,
So we're going to take a vote, but could I please get who first and seconded that motion?
Board Member Sovereign first, I
Okay.
seconded.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll vote for December 2nd's meeting minutes.
Okay. Chair Anderson?
Yes.
Vice Chair Whalen?
Abstain due to absence?
Okay. Board Member Anderson?
Abstain. Absent.
Board Member Noon?
Yes.
Board Member 6?
Yes.
Board Member Sovereign?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, moving on to the approval of the minutes from the consent meeting on October 27th. But that one was moved to the meeting last week, so do we actually vote on it?
Oh, yeah.
You still vote on the minutes? Okay.
Motion to approve?
All right, I'll second. Any discussion? There was no full board on October 27th. Okay.
Did we have a second?
Yes, I seconded.
Okay.
Okay, let's vote.
Chair Anderson?
Yes.
Vice Chair Whalen?
Yes.
Board Member Anderson?
Yes.
Board Member Noon?
Yes.
Board Member 6?
Yes.
Board Member Sovereign?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, and then the approval of the consent minutes on November 17th. What's there?
Motion to pass?
Okay, I'll second. Okay, let's take a vote.
Chair Anderson?
Yes.
Vice Chair Whalen?
Yes.
Board Member Anderson?
Yes.
Board Member Black? Excuse me, Board Member Noon?
Yes.
Board Member 6?
Yes.
Board Member Sovereign?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, and then the consent meeting minutes for December 1st.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, let's take a vote.
Chair Anderson?
Yes.
Vice Chair Whalen?
Yes.
Board Member Anderson?
Yes.
Board Member Noon?
Yes.
Board Member 6?
Yes.
Board Member Sovereign?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, and then ratification of action taken on the consent calendar for today, December 8th.
So I think we'll actually push that to the new year. Those minutes aren't ready for review just yet.
Well, I
Oh,
thought we're
ratified.
ratifying.
We had 3 items on today, and I'm drawing a blank. One moment.
They're under the agenda.
Thank you. So 411 East Cannon Perdido received project design and final approval. Item 230 West Sola received project design approval. And then 11 -15 Ocean View Avenue received comments today for conceptual review, and that's indefinitely continued to the staff hearing officer, so.
Had one too many glazed sour cream donuts. I can
Indeed,
tell.
yes. Maybe plan on a couple more.
Okay,
Make a motion for ratification?
Second?
okay, let's take a vote, take a vote.
Chair Anderson,
Yes.
Vice Chair Whalen,
Yes.
Board Member Anderson,
Yes.
Board Member Noon,
Yes.
Board Member Six,
Yes.
Board Member Sovereign,
Yes.
motion passes.
Okay, any announcements, requests by applicants for continuances and withdrawals, future agenda items, or appeals?
Yes, so staff has a couple announcements today. Thank you, Chair Anderson. Item 2 today, 102 West De La Guerra was postponed at the applicant's request. It's just postponed indefinitely. They're looking to maybe come back sometime in the new year. They wanted to finalize some details on the plans, so we will not be hearing that item today. And then for those who are here for 519 West Los Olivos, the earliest we could hear that item, item 3 on the agenda, would be 4 o'clock. We cannot hear an item, we can hear an item only up to 15 minutes before its scheduled time. So those are the 2 announcements from staff today. And thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any subcommittee reports? Okay, then we will move on to item number 1, which is 428 Anacapa Street. Here for final approval. The proposed project involves demolition of 2 single-family residences and a detached garage, and construction of a new mixed-use structure comprising 6 short-term rentals on the ground floor and 9 residential units on the second through 4th floors. Proposed density is 61.6 units per acre, and average size of the long-term residential units is 824 square feet, consistent with Santa Barbara Municipal Code Title 30, Priority Housing Overlay Standards. 6 covered parking spaces will be provided to serve the non-residential use. No parking spaces are required to serve the residential use pursuant to the SBMC and California Assembly Bill 2097. Final approval is requested. Project requires substantial conformance to the plans granted. Project design approval by the full board on April 28th, 2025. Project was last reviewed on October 27th, 2025. Is that right? It was on the 27th. Okay. Okay, do you have the minutes up by chance? Or can you pull them up?
Okay. For some reason, these minutes are missing.
They're missing.
I skipped from page something to something. So give me a moment. And then I'll just check online.
Okay, well, welcome back. Please introduce yourselves and walk us through the response to the missing meeting minutes.
Hi, I'm Bobby Walker with BWD.
Chris Gilliland with Common Ground Landscape Architecture.
And most of what we'll be presenting today is responses to the meeting minutes. So I'll walk through some of the items we've addressed, and then there were also a couple of things in the last meeting that weren't necessarily in the minutes that a few of you had that we also addressed. One of the big items that was talked about is, I'll go to the site plan to show this. But working with the owner's electrician, who's also the consultant, the utility consultant, we located a transformer in the front of the property. So we reorganized that area in the front to accommodate for the transformer and all of its clearances while keeping it out of the visibility triangle. There's a couple other things that happened while we did that. We have very limited space for the stormwater retention on this site. So the stormwater retention system that Civil's using requires all other areas outside of footings to be permeable pavers. So Chris's landscaping will be coordinated with that. As you'll see, is the areas in the front that he has on his plans as planting are actually planters that sit on top of the pavers, and that allow the storm drain system to work underneath. I'm going to go to the elevation sheet now to show several of the other items that were brought up in the last meeting. Put on here, page 17.
And I can, just more minor my interruption. I just want to share the minutes really quick to make sure the board is privy to the last minutes. Where did it go?
Do we need to pause the applicant's time?
Yeah, I'll make sure that that time's good to go. So here we go. Perfect, thank you.
Okay to continue? Okay. So, as you saw, those were a little brief because they actually reference the meeting minutes from the meeting before. So I have a few of those things in here, but I can continue to walk you through them. One thing that was missing from the last presentation was this trellis on the second floor that we brought back into the project. You can see it on the west elevation here. And another thing we did was work on the detailing of that trellis. So we continued to add, originally it was more of a contemporary form, I think is the best way to describe it, with large heavy members. And we refined it to be a little bit more traditional Spanish trellis here on the second floor, and then we also matched the fourth floor trellis. On the fourth floor, we had a really small window that the board didn't like, specifically board member 6. And so we updated that detailing up there. It matches now some of the detailing that we show over here on the east elevation. And it opens up that walkway there. We took board member 6's recommendation to go back to individualizing the entry canopies over the doors that we had in PDA. And we also took Chair Member Anderson's advice to look at the height of those door canopies, so we lowered those canopies a little bit. And then another item we also adjusted was these large windows in the front. We worked with structural to raise them so that there's no headers, so that did two things for us. It gave us more relief above the canopy, and it also reduced the amount of plaster at this parapet wall up here, which I think that 1 foot difference makes a big effect at the top of the building. We simplified the 3rd and 4th floor on the east elevation. Board member 6 had comments about the amount of detailing, a lot of different detailing over there, including clear story windows at just one location on the building that we ended up removing. And another item we did was, I think this was one of board member Whalen's comments and concerns, but we created symmetry at the car entry at the front of the building. The rest of the elevation going up there, you can see, is very symmetrical. So it's this massing piece here, which visually makes a big difference. Those were some of the, oh, sorry, I have it here in my notes. Take notes and I miss it. And then the west elevation, we worked to bring it back into conformance. Well, we had changed a little bit from PDA because of the egress requirements we were talking about. But we worked to provide more detailing so it wasn't, I think the way maybe it was best described, just a blank wall. So we have a recess in the plaster in the 3rd and 4th floor. And then we put a base on the building so that if you're in this parking area, there's a little bit more articulation on that side. And we've also added the adjacent building outlines, into the elevations here so you can get a little bit more context on the site. So you can see this north elevation, how much of it is covered by a building just adjacent to it. And then the the single-family home neighbor on the east elevation. It's helpful to see this as we were playing with how much detailing we wanted to add to this garage wall here. We just, we were talking about if this was our house and we owned the neighbor's house, what would you want there? And I think you'd really just want it to be fairly simple and an opportunity to plant against it. So that's the direction we went with the detailing on this east elevation. And then I will go to the end of the set and let Chris talk a little bit about the landscape updates.
Okay, there's really not that much to say. It's really just rolling with the punches in terms of, the new updated layout for the planters and such. So it's really just all kind of spelled out there for you. And there were a couple of minor tweaks on the second, third, and fourth. Removal of a pot or two that moved to the interior, so those were just removed. Otherwise, pretty much the same as it was. The major difference maybe being on that lower right corner that sort of went back to the stormwater requirement. So it's now a raised planter, and so we sort of reintroduced the juncus and other plants that would do well inundated with water, which is the same across the front there.
Yeah, and I'll add one thing to that I forgot to mention earlier in the presentation. So as you mentioned, this is a raised planter that is part of the stormwater strategy since we removed some of the impervious surface. So the walls you see here in the front are still that Santa Barbara sandstone. We've accounted for the footings and everything with the civil team. And then we used to have Santa Barbara sandstone walls going perpendicular here to separate the different units, and we can't have those anymore because the footings conflict with the civil coordination and the drainage. So now it's still in the front, but we're using planters to delineate between the different units. And that's the same thing here along the driveway, why we can't have a Santa Barbara sandstone wall here. So that's a planter on top of pavers. And with that, I think that concludes our presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We will open up public comment for item 1.
Thank you, Chair Anderson. I'll start with in-person public comment. At this time, I do not have any slips for this particular item. However, if you wish to make a comment, you may fill one out and bring it to me. I see no one in the audience moving to do so, so we will turn our attention to virtual comment. And at this time, there are no hands raised for virtual comment on this project, and we did not receive any written correspondence for this particular project. So at that, I'll turn it back over to you, Chair Anderson.
Okay, thank you. We will close public comments and go to questions from the board. Vice Chair Whalen, would you like to begin?
Sure, thank you, Chair Branch. Mr. Walker, is this the first time we've seen the appearance of the transformer? I don't remember it being out in that location.
Yes.
Okay. So is there any fencing around it, or is it just laying in the gravel bed between the entry walkways?
It's laying in the gravel bed between the entry walkways.
I thought there were setbacks around it, but that's not really a question, is it?
There are. Yeah.
Do you have can you show us a spec sheet on what that thing looks like?
We do not have a spec sheet on the transformer. The initial coordination that the electrician has is based on other projects.
Could
that
you
he-
give us a rough description
Oh,
of
yeah.
what the beast looks like?
Yeah, so the pad is much larger than I expect the actual transformer to be. So the transformer itself, I think, may end up only being like 18 inches by potentially the width of that pad by 4 feet tall, 3 to 4 feet tall.
That's helpful. And then at the same time, you said that you couldn't do the stone garden walls separating the entries because of the utilities beneath, but doesn't the location of the transformer conflict with those utilities beneath?
Yeah, definitely. So in the civil plans, we don't use that transformer area as part of the impervious surface that's calculated for the civil plans to work. So the civil team actually got really creative making this raised planter over here to be able to capture the rest of the stormwater that didn't fit in the system underneath the site.
Oh, those creative engineers. My last question, the shading that you used on the elevations to show adjacent buildings, are those buildings on the lot line, or are you looking at the entire building? Do you understand my question?
Yeah, that's a
'Cause
good question. I think for
One of them looked like it showed a porch.
I was going to say, it kind of shows up here.
yeah,
Showing neighboring structures on this plan, which gives you sort of the proximity to the,
so
No,
most
I'm
of
talking about the elevations,
okay.
if you can go to the elevations.
let's see the quickest way to get up there.
So specifically, the north elevation
Mm-hmm.
made it look like the building was on the lot line, whereas the east elevation looked like it was the cast shadow of the entire building. Where did they go?
I'm sorry, I'm headed back to the. I think I have it here. 22.
What's the easy answer?
The easy answer is the backside of the building's like you're talking about. It's a very small separation, like
On
about
the
a foot.
north.
Yeah, and then the neighboring property, that's
the east.
on the east. That's more like a few feet, and then the porch is
Yeah,
further away.
okay, that matches what I thought it
Mhm,
was.
so we're
saying.
taking as if you're standing back, looking at the whole thing.
Casting a shadow. Those are my questions. Thank you.
Board Member Six?
Yes, thank you, Chair Anderson. What is it, the Oceanside or south elevation? Can you go to there? There you go, that one. What is the line at the third floor plate? Is that a flush? I don't see
that's-
a jog in
That's
there.
that's a plan set error, and that will be.
That won't be there?
It won't be there. I'd definitely remove it before we submit it.
Okay.
Drafting error.
And then, this one's a bit complicated, but I'll go for it anyway. Can you go to your elevations? Let's start with the north elevation.
Oh, sorry.
Back, now, let's go to a section through a east-west section for that back little cupola there. I think it's one more sheet down. Yeah, so if we zoom up on that upper right-hand corner, and this is if you know, from fourth floor, 3111 to 41 and a half, whatever, it's barely, is 9 feet, which is a handsome plate height. But the graphics here and almost everywhere else shows that the plate height, the actual plate height is 1 to 2 feet higher. Can you explain why? You can zoom through many of these, like go down to the next one. See how low, go over to your right.
Mm-hmm.
See how low your fourth floor plate, which is adequate at 9, you have, you know, a good 3 feet above that. And, you know, it's throughout that upper floor. And it would seem to me that either you explain why it's so high.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know that you're splitting the ridge right down the middle, but all my evidence shows, my research view of this says that almost every, look at here, that elevation there that we just saw, it's a good 18 inches above what it has to be, and it's very noticeable in the elevations with the height of the header above the windows to the eaves. I don't understand.
So part of it is that it was a design consideration to keep the roof simplified so that here at the front of the building where the gable's the widest, it is down at the plate height. And this project switched owners through the middle of it. One originally wanted to do vaulted ceilings. The current design is with scissor trusses. It doesn't affect it too much, but that change has come through the drawings. But in the front, it's down at the plate. So as we go back and continue to keep that ridge of the gable, then when we reduce the width, it raises the plate at this location.
I understand that, but it seems to me that, you know, you're going to see the back end of this building from oblique angles, and
So it sounds like you would,
it seems that you would make every effort to shorten especially the top floor of this, to make your elevations more reasonable and sing, and reduce the width of those very high eaves above the window mullions. I'm getting even comment, but you've explained it. It's the simplicity of the roof. You just drew it all the way back, and okay. And then one more item, if you go to your site plan, given that we've reduced the planting significantly by a transformer, why can't there be a raised planter on the left side of the leftmost front unit there? Right there, where your hand is, or?
this location could potentially have a planter that goes over the pavers here.
Okay, thank you. That's my questions.
Board Member Noon,
I don't have any questions.
Board Member Soffren.
Can I ask why that section doesn't have a planter over it?
Yeah, part of it's the bike parking, and I think it's kind of like a give or take, like it could go either way. What happened was it had a nice little return with the Santa Barbara sandstone wall there originally, and then we had to reduce that. So I think with the bike parking there, it felt like it was adding complexity when it was kind of nice that you could access that from both sides, because it is a STR on that ground floor. So it felt okay being a little more open and accessible
Okay,
when we looked at the redesign.
no further questions.
Board Member Anderson.
Yeah, and looking at this site plan, so is the is the new concrete driveway at the minimum it can be right now? Or can it get smaller at all, or for fire access and all that?
Yeah, I think the short answer is yes, it could get a little bit smaller.
Because just now looking and seeing the location of the transformer along the frontage and kind of just the floor plan and the planning of these units, I'm just curious, what your thoughts are on the habitability and kind of like the aesthetics around the street experience of this transformer being right in front of those units, which already seem to be so congested in the front of the building.
I think I understand what you're asking, and I think the short answer is a transformer, because of the visibility triangle does need to be where it is. But as the project progresses, we could continue to talk about the landscaping and see if there's an opportunity to add more landscaping where the driveway is, which in general, adding more landscaping on this project would be nice with the limited amount we have right now. But I don't think there's a way to move that, to like create more landscaping somewhere else and move the transformer to a different location.
Okay, and is the transformer screened at all?
No, it is not screened because of the required clearances around it. So it's got 3 feet. Part of the reason it's pushed forward towards the sidewalk, it has 3 feet on the rear of it, 3 feet on either side, and then 8 feet in the front. And so this is kind of like the cleanest way to show it as code compliant for the worst case scenario. But as we work with the electrician and get further down the line, if it's a smaller, once they confirm the size and location of it, there may be opportunity to push it back on the pad or push the pad back so we can, I guess, try to maximize, or I don't know what the right way to say it, reduce that 3-foot clearance against the building. But for now, with the general terms we're showing, we have to show it here. But hopefully we get to push it back as much as possible.
So the unit access is walking through the clearance?
Yes.
Okay.
Doubling up on it.
Yeah.
On a
So,
use.
okay. So kind of zooming out into a macro picture now. So for me, I'm curious about, do you have any further description of how this building is going to sit in the context? Because I know you kind of ghosted in those buildings on the elevations, but I think it would be helpful to see either in a 3D view or in a perspective or something that gives an indication of what it's going to feel like, you know, the mass and bulk and scale of this and all the things we're looking at here.
Definitely. I know in the PDA set we had more context, so we didn't provide all of that in this construction document submittal in the final set. I think this project has been going on long enough too. I don't think you were a board member right at the beginning of it.
I think so, yeah. I'm just curious if it's, how that's gonna really feel and what changes have been made. I guess to me, looking at just the plans and elevations, I'm curious whether it has really adapted in a way that responds to the adjacent context, or whether those changes that have been made are maybe not as focused on the scale relationship to the context, because it doesn't seem that it has, for instance, with the roofs.
Well, we are here for finals, so they have to be in substantial conformance to what we gave project design approval on. And so maybe you can just clarify if the roof form changed from PDA to this, where that was, and so maybe that can give some better clarification.
The building envelope, including the max roof height and ridge line, has not increased at all since the PDA approval, with the exception of that singular area where the egress was adjusted. The massing was adjusted.
If it's helpful, I have the old project design approval plans that do show some elevations, if you would like to see. Board Member Anderson.
Sure.
Okay. Do you mind just walking to? And feel free to help guide me too, Mr. Walker. So, this was done in April, I want to say, right, of this year. Design has since changed, but these are some perspective renderings, buildings in the rear.
Here we go, yeah, this is a good view of it. So then, let's flip on the current one to the street front elevation. No, keep that one up and then, because I want to see.
So he just wants to see on the.
Yeah.
So Mr. Walker, you can just show, because these two screens, the three screens that the board members are viewing on the table.
Match.
See what you're.
Oh, okay.
So
I didn't know
he
that.
just wants to have a comparison between the two.
And then we can flip the top screen too eventually.
Let me know if you'd like to zoom in on any particular elevation. I guess the front, you were saying?
Okay. So in terms of yeah, that's what I was saying. So the context, it still is, I guess, okay. So we added, okay. All right, and what was the reason behind some of the, I guess, just responding to the prior meeting about the awnings over the doors, correct? And the railings changing too.
Yeah, in a newer approved version of this, there were comments from the board wanting it to be more of a traditional Spanish architecture style. So a lot of what has been progressed in the plans is response to the board.
Okay. All right, this is good to see this, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, my only question back on the site plan, and did you consider rotating the transformer, pushing it to the west, I think, and then flipping the entrance to that unit?
I'm sorry, let me. So, yes, and I think visually, that's a great idea, and actually, that's what the client wanted to do as well. But with the current understanding of clearances, we can't push it up against this wall because it needs.
Right, but you'd
3
have your 3-foot clearance from the wall, you would rotate it, and then you have your 8-foot clearance to the right side.
Oh, so you're saying just rotate it in this location?
No.
Against this wall?
Rotate it and push it 3 feet away from that wall, and then flip your entrance.
I'm understanding now. Yes, we did do that, but the edge of the transformer ends up over here, and there's no.
So it doesn't fit.
It doesn't fit. And then the other thing
You don't
is,
know your dimensions, right?
well, we know the dimension of the max dimension of the pad, which is what we're basing our clearances off right now.
But the pad has to be how much larger than the, because you said it was going to be 18 inches deep by 4 feet long.
You're limited to a
Sorry, yeah.
6x8 pad,
Yeah, so this pad, this
That's-
710,
Okay.
yeah.
regardless of the transformer.
Got
The
it.
pad is 6x8.
Sorry, I wasn't explaining that clearly. I think that's an excellent idea, and we did look at that. It didn't quite meet it with this clearance.
wouldn't
If there's a way when we get further down the line, I don't know if there's a way to come through as like a staff level to have that approved, if we want to figure out a way to rotate it so that it creates less of a disturbance at the street. Because the way it's showing right now, it's going to be facing the street. And
Yeah.
absolutely, if we can turn it and have it face sideways and get a profile that's only 2 feet wide, we're definitely pushing to do that, and I'd be happy to bring it back through, however that works as administrative.
We can cross that bridge when we get there. If it's
Yeah.
a review after final, then sure.
Okay, any other follow-up questions?
I just have one about looking at what is the furred out wall at the door? Maybe I missed that at some point, but what's the function of that?
To create a deeper recess on the door, so it has more of a profile and elevation, and more of a shadow.
I see. Okay.
Okay, they're here for finals, so let's go into comments. Vice Chair Whalen.
I think this project is a good testament to the review process. I feel the building has gotten better. Mr. Walker, you've been very responsive, in earnest, to each of the comments. I'm not crazy about this project, but I do think it's ready for final approval.
Board Member 6.
Well, I appreciate it moving back to the separate individual sheds over the entry doors, removal of the abundance of corbels, the trellis added back, the decorative dimples in the gables, so it has improved somewhat. I think the trellises are still a bit clumsy. I think you could reduce these second-tier beams to a depth, a couple inches at least, down one nominal dimension, or maybe even 2, and also extend and overhang and shape the ends of the primary beams. I'm just sorry I didn't miss the 4-plate heights on that 4th floor. I think it's disappointing. So the only radical new change in conformance from PDA is the transformer, and I just have a really hard time, having a project come down the road and oops, at the last moment there's something that we have to give up on. It's unacceptable. So I'm not going to vote for it.
Board Member Noon.
I would agree with Board Member Whalen's comments. I appreciate the attention that you've taken to the board's, responding to the board's comments, and I believe the building is ready for final as well.
Board Member Sofferin?
I agree with Board Member Noon and Board Member Whalen, and I don't know, just love to go on the record for saying that maybe staff can be helpful and accommodating with sort of how we handle this transformer. I think that'd be great if there was a way to kind of maneuver it a little bit and see if everybody could end up in a better situation than what's presented today.
Board Member Anderson?
My comments are, I don't think this project is ready for final approval, and I think that the overall composition of the plan, combined with the way the project has responded to comments, or the lack of that, and the existence of the transformer and the frontage, and you know, I really think these are all things that the ABR is kind of like set up to try to quality control. So I don't see that really happening, and yeah, those are my comments. Thanks.
Chair Anderson?
Yes.
Can I make a suggestion? We saw a project way back when in the funk zone, which they were recommending. I don't know whether they actually were able to do it, but they had, being in the funk zone, they had a very fun painting on the transformer. So it made this green, ugly box kind of a whimsical thing, and I would strongly suggest that the applicant see whether Edison could do that, or invite some taggers for a party one night.
Or move the project to the fun zone.
It's good. Yeah, I definitely think it's unfortunate that this late in the game we're finding out where the transformer is, and this is something we actually harp on at the beginning of a project, and so it's really frustrating, and especially with this location right in front of a window. And even if it's a short-term rental, that's pretty unfortunate. It's like, hey, welcome to Santa Barbara. Here's my view, you know? So I do understand that this process has been long and that we are where we are, and you have responded to many of our comments. I would second the comment about the size of the members on the trellis. The second tier, like you mentioned, looks very large. Otherwise, I will support this project for final. I do think it's substantially in conformance with project design approval, and would definitely recommend reducing the impact of the transformer as much as possible. So would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to, for final approval for the project as presented, with the consideration that the applicant will work with staff, and hopefully staff will help the applicant come up with a solution that puts the transformer and sort of reduces the impact, and study and see if there is a possibility of rotating it 90 degrees and reducing that sort of that facade on the street. Is there anything else to add?
I think the comment of the depth of the beams, the trellis members.
And then to accommodate the comment of the depth of the beams and the trellis member.
And to recognize the error of the line across the third floor plate.
And to remove the drafting error of the line at the third floor plate.
I'll second.
Can we just get a little clarification on point number 2 there for sorry, I was writing and forgot.
About the beams?
Yes.
Yes, yeah, we just kind of like pointed back to what was said in the comments.
What's the comment? What did you guys write down?
As far as the that the depth of the beams be readjusted for,
By at least 2 inches.
Well, the beams should be reduced to a size that's adequate for the design and in common with traditional detailing.
Okay.
Good.
Does the maker of that motion
Yep.
agree? Okay.
We had a second.
Yes.
Any discussion?
Could we have the transformer issue come back to consent? I feel that it's
I
just,
think so.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, I
And-
completely agree with that.
Yeah. And can we add to the motion that the, that the transformer, the final placement and treatment of the transformer be brought back to the board, the consent?
So we'll just, okay, transformer, final placement to return to consent, however you said that, and then we can just scratch, comment number 1 and replace it with that comment.
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll second, but I've got a discussion. Does that mean do you think you'll be able to come back with a size?
Well,
You
I
need to
guess
come back with size.
that's my so it's not getting approved, is what you're saying? Like, can we
getting
still commit to,
approved.
so we're coming back?
No, I mean, so that's actually, he's got a point. So we can't grant final approval today and then expect to see them return.
Oh, because we can't say come after final.
Yeah. So I think that maybe we leave, you can potentially.
Can we approve it and then say if it changes, it needs to come back and can come back
I don't
to
think you can
consent?
condition that. Once you give final approval, you give final approval. So,
may I? Can we
Yes.
have a board member review with staff the final outcome?
even then, no. So,
Even at building permit, they can't do that?
I mean, I can look at it if it's, I mean, if something changes. So when it comes to building permit review, we review for consistency with project design approval plans and final approval plans, right? So if something changes, it might trigger a review after final. And at that point, then maybe we can bring it back and maybe staff can. It's ideally today, you would put something in the motion, kind of addressing what the applicant should do with the transformer.
Well, that's what our
Yeah, I know.
item 1 was, so.
So,
So basically, it'll come back to us if it changes and you feel like it's triggering a difference than in the approved plans.
yeah, so then they would need to submit a revision to the planning application to do a review after final. Sometimes we are able to administratively approve changes, right? Like, oh, there's a minor window change that happens at building permit submittal due to like code requirements, right? There's really not a nexus you can put in the motion requiring them to come back after final approval is granted. So, I mean, I think we can put it in the motion, and the best that I can do is reach out to my design review supervisor and kind of ask and just kind of say, hey, you know, and who knows what's going to happen with the transformer, right?
Yeah.
So,
That's what's so frustrating. I guess under discussion with the board, are we all comfortable? We think it won't be taller than 4 feet? I mean, I've seen some transformers that are 8 feet tall, so.
I mean, like, to open it back up since we're.
do you mind just turning your mic back on? Thanks.
To open it back up since we're under discussion and this has come up, I mean, I hate to say it, but maybe I'd actually say not to make a motion to approve it because I'm very confident that a couple more weeks of thinking about this could come back with some more precise parameters instead of this, you know, elephant, like everything else is good. All we gotta do is come back with, so could we even approve it to consent? To the point of consent where consent can give it final?
You could continue the project to consent.
Continue it that way, and that way, give them, you know, come back to us, come back to consent with some more work put into showing some more creativity with that transformer.
Well, I think the reality is that they won't know, well, ask the applicant, when will you know the parameters, size, and shape of your transformer
Yeah,
before you submit, correct?
we may not know before we submit the initial submittal.
Really? How do you not know? Your electrical engineer doesn't know this?
They aren't local.
They are local. I can put in what they've told me they anticipate it to be, but I can't promise that's what it is. If it comes back to another meeting, then I will need to go back to the consultants and we will need to make other design changes potentially. I know at least on the mechanical side, there's new code updates coming
I see.
for air
You're
intake
ready to submit
and that sort of thing. So we'll be in a new code cycle and we'll have to
I see
redraft
what
the
you're doing.
plan.
So you're trying to submit before the end of the year,
Yes.
before the code's out.
I'm-
I'd like to then, if I might say, I'd like to go back to reinstating number 1, the original motion.
Okay.
I'm happy to consult anybody outside of the, I don't know if I can say that, outside the formal channels, one-on-one.
That can't happen.
Your mic was on. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, so do you mind just moving the mouse on the computer, Mr. Walker? Thanks.
So we have a motion on the floor and we have a second. Can you just reread the motion, please, that's on the floor?
The first one will recommend that the applicant work with staff to reduce the transformer or rotate the transformer to reduce the impact on the street level, or street level. The beams to be reduced to the size that complements the structure, and then remove the error on the plans, was it traffic error on the
Draft.
No, the drafting error.
drafting error on the plans, and then the questionable last fourth one was whether the transformer final placement to return to consent.
No, that
So
covers.
omit number 4.
Omit 4, okay.
I'm good with that.
You good with that?
Yes.
Okay, any discussion before we take a vote? Okay, let's take a vote.
Okay. Chair Anderson,
Yes.
Vice Chair Whalen,
Oops, I vote to approve.
Board Member Noon,
Yes.
Board Member Six,
No.
Board Member Sovereign.
Yes.
Did I get Board Member Anderson?
No.
Board Member Anderson?
No.
Okay. Motion passes.
Thank you. And then for the 2 board members who voted no, may you state your reason as to why?
A significant change from the PDA of the addition of the transformer in a unfortunate position.
Yeah, the transformer being in the, impacting the aesthetics of the public realm significantly, but also, for me, much broader, deeper design issues, massing, kind of ill-proportioned massing that seems to be a result of kind of awkward geometries in the plan, and a little bit of kind of over-programming of the space. The overall feeling that the building is kind of confused in its aesthetic identity, and the bulkiness and kind of just intuitive sense that it doesn't have a good feeling in terms of how it fits into the neighborhood context.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. There is a 10-day appeal period?
Correct, yeah. So the 10-day appeal period is listed up on screen today. We're in right now.
All right, thank you.
So, item number 2 is supposed to be heard right at 3:40, but item number 2 was postponed at the applicant's request. So item 3 is able to be heard at 4 p.m., 15 minutes before its scheduled time. So the board, I think, can take a 5-minute recess if,
Let me have a donut.
Okay.
The chair is okay with that?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
To item number 3. This is a new item for concept review, 519 West Los Olivos Street. Proposal to retain and remodel the front unit and demolish the rear unit of the existing duplex and construct 3 residential units above two-car carports in a 3-story structure. The project is proposed under the city's average unit size density incentive program. The average unit size will be 867 square feet. The existing 2-car garage will be converted to an accessory dwelling unit under a separate building permit. The project also includes a 90 square foot laundry area, 154 square foot trash recycling structure, and a 93 square foot exterior stairway. Project proposes 4 vehicle parking spaces and 4 bicycle parking spaces. No final appealable decision will be made at this hearing. Project will require compliance with the project compatibility findings, urban design guidelines, and outdoor design lighting guidelines when it is reviewed for project design approval. Well, welcome. Does the planner have something to say?
Yes, thank you, Chair Anderson, and good afternoon, board members. Carly Ernest, I'm the case planner for this project. And just a quick note, the application is still incomplete, so here for concept review. There may be some changes to the sidewalk design that they're working out with Public Works Transportation, so just to be aware of that. And it is a design review only project, so once it's deemed complete, they'll be back for project design approval, but there's no other land use approvals that are required as currently designed. And lastly, they are requesting an exemption from story poles. So in your comments and motion, if you can please consider that request for exemption from story poles.
So to the planner, since the application isn't complete, the number of meetings doesn't start with this one?
That is correct. The hearing
This one
count.
doesn't count.
That's correct. Yes.
And will we be making a motion or just comments only?
Board Member Whalen, it is comments only.
Thank you.
Well, it's a motion. It will come back to you. So the motion would be continue indefinitely back to the full board with the following comments.
Oh, so there will be a motion.
Yes, there's a motion. Okay, well, welcome. Please introduce yourselves. You have 15 minutes to walk us through your project.
Great, thank you. I'm Tracy Brunel, the architect for the project.
Abraham, the developer, I guess you could call me.
Owner, contractor, all of the above. All right, good. Well, I will try and get you oriented here if I can figure out how to work everything smoothly. So there's an existing duplex on the site, a one-story duplex. That's the view straight on from the street. That's one at a bit of an angle. Then when we get back, there's a parking area after you get past the thing. So this is looking back towards the street. So you can see the driveway comes down along the side, along an existing fence. There's a mature oak tree right on the property line there. The neighbor's driveway is on the other side of the fence there. Then towards the back of the parking area, there's a detached 2-car garage. We're proposing to turn that into an ADU. And the program is to, you can kind of see this is the east-facing view of it. It has this covered walkway. So we're proposing to remove the rear unit, keep the front unit and remodel it. And then we'll put a couple of carports and a stairway, and then we'll have 2 units on the second floor and a third unit on the third floor. Let's see, oops, sorry. Okay, so this is, give you an idea of the neighborhood a little bit. This is the lot next door to us to the west, so if you're standing in the street to the left. There's a proposed development here that's, I'm not sure where in the process, but it's a 26-unit, 3-story building. I believe it's a builder's remedy because there's no parking at all for it, so it's a bit of a controversy in the neighborhood. This is the next property over, which is also a 3-story. There are multiple buildings on this. I don't know how many units, maybe 12, I was guessing, or 15. And, I don't know how you would define this style. They've kind of used color to imitate what might be siding, and they've got kind of engaged timbers and stuff that maybe indicates a Tudor, and kind of moving around with these roof forms, which to me are all just sort of kind of gimmicks to try to make it not look like a big box. Across the street, we've got again, a multi-unit project, maybe 12 units, something like that, and it's a plaster building with wood attached to it to give it interest. Again, not in a way that makes a lot of sense to me. Across the street, we have kind of this whimsical plaster cottage. Further up the street, there are a couple of siding cottage-style buildings. In the neighborhood in general, Cottage Hospital is one street up. The Schott campus is one street over. Really nice Spanish-style buildings. So, Ava's a local resident, and this is his first project that he's trying to do, and really has a preference for Spanish. So we're kind of taking our cues from that. Let's see here. Apologize. Stressful trying to operate this equipment. I don't know how to use it at the same time. I kind of wanted to go through, so this is the site plan. The existing unit goes back to this line here. That's what that indicates. So we're taking out the smaller of the two units. First carport, second carport. There's a element in between that has the stairs towards the driveway and a laundry area in the back. And then we have our trash enclosure in the back here, which is got a mechanical portion of it if we need it. And then the garage is back here. I wanted to talk about the constraints on this site. We're 20 months into this, trying to get everything sorted out and approved through planning, and we've done 2 PRTs. And we're on the Mission Creek, so we have a 25-foot creek setback here, and we have existing development in that setback. So we're kind of working with existing non-conforming issues. It's not drawn on here, but this is Highway 101 right here on the other side of Mission Creek. So we're within that 250-foot buffer zone of that. So that creates both sound and air quality constraints. It's a narrow lot, 55 feet, so trying to turn around and get out, because of the depth of the lot, we need to do that, and because it's multi-unit, both things trigger needing to turn around. So we really struggled with transportation to get this one parking spot, the 4th spot we need over here, to work, but we've done that. The front house is existing non-conforming. It's on a 4'11" from the side yard, and the setback is 6 feet. And because we're demolishing quite a bit of it, we're up close to the substantial redevelopment triggers. So if we trigger that, then we would not be able to keep this existing non-conforming over here. And we've also been required to do this street improvement here, which is to add the sidewalk and parkway. And we're working around a large existing star pine there. But that creates a new setback. We're not showing that here, but there's a 10-foot setback from the sidewalk, which would cut through the building here. So again, if we trigger the existing or the substantial redevelopment, we'll have to tear the front of the building down. What they basically are saying they won't give us a modification in a situation like this. So, of course, there's the solar ordinance, but that's on this side, and by virtue of the existing drive and the location of the building, we don't have any issues with that. We're in the 100-year floodplain. That's what this line is here. So we are proposing to cut a corner out of that building because, of course, the existing duplex is below the design flood elevation. So we wouldn't be able to keep any of it if we were in the 100-year floodplain.
Picked a super fun one for my first one,
Yeah, he's pretty battle-worn already.
Pretty beat up, yeah.
And then, of course, the tree. This is a big tree, and want that protected. And there's another one here that's not in our lot, but would still affect it. We can't do anything really back here because of the creek setback, but we are allowed to convert this building. We're really not allowed to put a landing in here. There's a sliding glass door back there. But, and the corner of our building here is in the creek setback. So we've already gotten a determination from the community development director that allowing us to have an exemption and put those there. So we're in good shape, but we don't have a ton of flexibility. This is our open yard area here, which is not supposed to be over here. It's supposed to be behind buildings to protect it from noise, but we were able to get an exemption from that because there's clearly nowhere else to put it. And we are going with private outdoor areas. There is an alternative way to do your open yard if you can't do those, but I think we can. We've got one up front here, and I'll show you the others when we get up there. So let's see here. Okay, so here is the floor plan layout for the first floor. The outline of the unit is the same. We're doing quite a bit of remodeling. I mean, like this central wall, I think, is remaining, but we're changing things quite a bit in here. This was kind of a killer to take this corner out. That's a bedroom now, which no longer works, but it works okay for the kitchen, so. And we've got the 2 carports, the stair that comes in here, and the laundry and the trash. Then we come up the stair, you go into 1 unit on one side and 1 unit on the other. So these are just pretty straightforward 2-bedroom, 1-bath, and 2-bedroom, 2-bath units. The existing front house is 15 feet back from the property line. The second floor is another 20, so we're 35 feet back. The third floor is another 10 feet, so it's 45 feet back from the front. Stair goes up again, and this time we come into the living space, circulate behind the stair to the 2 bedrooms and 2 baths. So there's just the one we like to call the penthouse unit on the 3rd floor, which will have pretty spectacular views. We're looking forward to seeing what that will be like up there. I think it's going to be pretty nice. I'll go to the elevation sheet here. Like I said, we went with the Spanish style, so you can see the existing front building has a covered walkway, which we're maintaining across, so that helps break up the massing on the second floor there. We've got cantilevered pieces on the 3rd floor to create some interest and also give us the space we need. We really needed to do that to make it work, but it works out well, I think, aesthetically. And you can see the stair comes in with some detail at the entry, and then we've got the 2 landings up above. We've got decks off the living spaces on the 2nd floor units, which will provide the private outdoor space. This south elevation, which is towards the rear of the property, the north elevation is towards the street, has this interesting unit that has the trash enclosure here, a bedroom here, and a deck up above with these kind of diagonal tile details at the deck. And we're considering doing some kind of steel like rod up there where you could have, an outdoor curtain or something to create privacy and maybe a little sound mitigation. This is a unique little unit, but I like it a lot. This is the west side. So you've got the openings at the back of the carport. This is a cantilevered portion that creates the closet for that bedroom and keeps us out of the creek setback. That's part of why we were doing that. This is the existing 1-story coming down at a 5-foot setback. Then this is at 6 foot. This is at 10 and goes back another, I think, 2'8" to the hallway that goes across there, so that we get a fair amount of modulation in that 3-story mass there. And this is the view from the street. This is existing. We're going to cut that corner out, but the roof plane will stay through. It's hard to see here, but that roof will cut back and will maintain the same rake dimension there. And then the 2nd floor here with bedroom windows, and the 3rd floor and the cantilever that comes off for the living room and bedroom on that side. Let's see here. This is just the existing site plan. Continuing down here, this is the existing floor plan for the duplex. This is the side towards the street. So we're cutting it off here and removing this one and putting the carport in there. That's just a substantial redevelopment study. This is our civil, not showing a lot here except, we will be tier 3, I think, in the stormwater, so that we have to have retention bases and stuff, and that's where we're planning to put those back there. And we've got a preliminary landscape plan, but that's kind of in process at this point. I don't think that's really a requirement at a conceptual level, so if you guys have any comments on it, what you would like to think about, we need to be careful back here in the creek setback, take out anything that's invasive, and anything we put back would not be. Yeah, it has to be native and not anything invasive. And we're planning to put a series of pretty big rocks along here to provide the protection that's required between the driveway and the open yard area. One thing that I wanted to mention is that there is a requirement, if this is a private outdoor yard, private outdoor area here, that we're supposed to have like a 5 or 6 foot fence between that and the driveway, and we're hoping that the board maybe will grant us a waiver, is the word, to not do that. I mean, it lives this way now, this is all yard now, the driveway is there now, and it's pretty nice, and to have a big barrier like that, I think that would be a kind of a bummer, but, and then the same thing back here, I think we're allowed to put a planter in, we're not proposing a planter, but if we have sizable rocks, we're hoping that would be, provide the same thing.
Sandstone boulders or something?
Yeah, that will probably come off the site, and we'll landscape it so there's some privacy between the driveway. We don't really want it wide open. And the other thing is, I apologize for not having these on here yet, but we're going to do 4, it'll be an electric heat pump HVAC system. So those have little compressors, and they're the suitcase-sized ones. They're pretty small. We'd like to put them along the back here. So this is a 6-foot setback. We'll probably be 6 to 12 inches away from it, and then another 14 for the unit. So they'll be 3'10" from the property line. You know, they're under the required noise at the unit. Those are quieter than the city even requires. So they'll degrade whatever they do in another 4 feet. And there's already a 6-foot fence there, which we would keep. And it just seems like a really good location for those. But we need your permission to put them that far into the setback. They're allowed to be up in the setback up to 5 feet, but not 3'10". So I think that's everything. You think of anything else, Abe, that we should mention?
Covers it pretty well.
All right.
Okay, great, thank you.
Sure.
We will open up public comment for item number 3.
Thank you, Chair Anderson. I'll start with in-person public comment. I have 2 slips, one from Matt Martin and one from Karen Martin. If you could both please approach the podium, you will each have 2 minutes to speak.
Yeah, so I'm Matt Martin, and we live in that cul-de-sac. Kind of it didn't quite make the picture, but our house is sort of on the corner of Los Olivos and Oak Park Lane. So, you know, my comment, it's early in the process, but I just wanted to say my comment is that Abe and the designer are doing a great job, and this is exactly what this neighborhood loves to see. Is you saw that ramshackle old place, you know, and you know he's going to make something that's fantastic out of it. And I'll just say as an aside, I mean he's had some kind of bum squatter in there for 2 or 3 years. He's trying to get them out, and he's told me all the problems with that. And I see what he's trying to achieve here, and it's just going to make the neighborhood so much better. Even though right next door to him is this damn builder's remedy, you know, god-awful thing, 26 units with no parking. So this is exactly the kind of thing that, you know, people in the neighborhood love to see. So I just wanted to tell you all that, and also to say how proud we are of Abe, because, you know, he's gone through a lot, and it's here, and it looks great. And I know you'll have comments, technical comments, your architects, and all that, but you know, I appreciate that he's here now. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Karen, and I'm his wife, and we do live right across the street. And we're really excited about this project. It's beautiful. Our neighborhood is finally coming off of kind of a drug issue, and we have good neighbors and kind people living there, and this is just the kind of thing that will have our neighbors take responsibility and be proud of where they live, as opposed to the dump that's going in next door with no parking places. And we only have 17 parking places on our street, 17, and they're going to put 26 new units in with no parking. Abe is doing the parking, and he's talked to every single neighbor on our street to find out what's important to us, and that means a lot. And I know everybody's working, and maybe they're not here today because they're all working, but we wanted to come out here and really speak to the fact that they are taking into consideration what we want to see and how we want to take care of our neighborhood. And I hope you will see that too. Thanks.
Thank you. We really appreciate that.
Okay, next we will turn our attention to virtual comment. And at this time, I do not have any hands raised for virtual comment on this project, and we did not receive any written correspondence. So I thought I will turn it back over to you, Chair Anderson.
Okay, we will close public comment for item number 3 and go to questions from the board. Who would like to begin? Board Member Noon?
Yeah, I could start really quick. So thank you for the presentation and the comments. It's always nice to hear support like that and the diligence that you've put into where you are now. I was going to ask about some privacy issues, just to study that, but it sounds like if you could go to a site plan, it sounds like maybe this little building to the, I guess it would be east or west, is going to
This
go
one here?
away. Yeah,
Yep.
that's going to go away. And that's where the larger building is getting placed. Is that correct?
No,
On the other side?
no, right ahead is here.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
the new
Oh,
building
the-
is
on
over
the-
here, yes.
Oh, are you talking about the builder remedy?
Yes.
Yeah.
So where I'm going with this is just as we move down the line, I was going to ask if you have addressed how this will affect privacy. Have you thought through that? I know we're early in that, but that's something that I wanted to discuss.
Yeah, absolutely. Abe has spoken with that neighbor, and he's happy with the project. Has his concerns about seeing into the yard. We're happy to do everything we can. It's a little tricky because this bedroom is caught here, so it's got to have a window out. And then the third floor, same thing, I think. I don't know that we can get a big enough window here for our egress and things, though this is quite a bit above. But to answer your question, yeah, we have been in touch with them, and we're going to try and work with them. And, when we get down to where we can figure it out, if we can slide a bedroom window to the side or do whatever we can to minimize it, then we're happy to do whatever we can.
Yeah, I just spoke with him today. Oh, yeah, I just spoke with that neighbor today. He was gonna come to the meeting, but he's gonna be completely involved in the window placement and all that kind of stuff, and, approve whatever we do moving forward and be happy with it, because he doesn't actually plan to go anywhere, so.
Okay.
We'll definitely be satisfying any issues that he has.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it for now.
Okay. Board Member Sofrin, questions?
Yeah, can you go to the elevations for me, please? Had you put any thought into sort of, it's tough, I know you're trying to like squeeze this all in, but it seems like the building really kind of, there is some articulation on some fronts, but others, like when I look at the south elevation, we've just got sort of like a straight vertical plane as it goes up. And have you explored maybe trying to figure out other ways to kind of taper it on that end?
I'm not sure what you're,
So when I look at like that projection, that's the deck right there, and then you've got the window, yeah, exactly where you're rolling the cursor over. I look at that and it's just sort of a straight wall, and then in the plane to the left of that behind again, just another sort of straight wall.
This one here?
Yeah, so when I look at the, what would it be, the east is it the west elevation that, when you look at that?
so you're seeing this here?
Yeah, and then again, just to the right of that, just sort of that straight drop, and just sort of curious if you thought about trying to taper it in as it went up a little more.
We did look at some options where we had a pitched roof over it and cut the deck into it. Didn't love it.
Okay.
But, yeah, like I said, I actually like this little element here for whatever reason. So, no, I haven't studied a lot of ways to change it, but we could do that. And I don't know if you're talking about this plane back here, but again, typical in Spanish style, a lot of times you do have those in-plane changes in the roof and things going down, so I kind of like that. Now that, it might be possible to offset something there. We'd have to look at what's down below here to do that, but.
And then, just sort of curious, have you explored other areas on the property for the placement of that HVAC equipment?
Well, yes. We've got, I didn't describe this, but we've got bike racks. We're required to have 4 bike parking spaces, so we've got 2 at the back of this carport. They don't fit in this one because we had to slide the cars back. So those are around the corner here. And this is, you know, supposed to be the usable outdoor area. I mean, it would be possible to put them back here. I'd much rather see them hidden behind the building where nobody's going to see them or hear them who are using the property. But yeah, I think there are options. I just thought that was the best one.
How many modifications or exemptions are we looking? Because we're looking for a waiver for, I think, open yard. That's a story poles, open yard, and
So I don't mention story poles just because if the board wants to see them, they can make them. Generally speaking, you're finding them exempt. Is a waiver required for the private open yard. Mr. Brunel today kind of mentioned there's a private open yard at the entrance there to the driveway. You were mentioning maybe you want to waive the fence requirement. Today we can talk about that. That is waived by the design review board. And then as for mechanical equipment, really the only concern we would have is to make sure that it meets our decibel level to the property line. Today, a lot of mechanical units are quite quiet, and there's generally a lot of ways to soften that noise as well. But there's no waiver that would be required. I think there's a small waiver that would be required for that parking space, just for a minor encroachment into that setback there. But that was what the community development director determined to be exempt. So when they're building in that creek setback buffer, the community development department can make a waiver to some of these things. So I think they have to be careful with that existing building, that ADU, not to do substantial redevelopment on that. Then that's going to kind of open a can of worms they don't want to open. But yeah, so today it's really just a private open yard and then the story poles. But again, the story poles are up to the board's discretion. So hope that answers.
yeah, I'm good for questions.
Okay.
The one thing I might mention as far as the story poles is, and I didn't say this, but we would propose to do, you know, a kind of photoreal rendering from the street and one from a couple other angles instead of the story poles. I think that would be quite a bit easier for us to do than a 3-story story pole setup.
Questions from Board Member Anderson?
Can you clarify once more, what's this area of existing building to be removed and reconstructed here? Is that above the cut of this plan, or is that the second story, or?
I'm sorry, what?
The dimension string right there, area of existing building to be removed and reconstructed.
Oh, right here? Yeah, that's just the back part, the back unit of the duplex. We're taking the back unit off completely. And
entirely.
reconstructed just means we're building the carports and the stairwell in that area.
I see, so, okay. Yeah, I got it. So, do you mind, can you flip to the elevation so I can see this? So those shaded carport areas, so that you can walk all the way through them, right?
They're open, yeah.
Okay. And then if you just zoom in on maybe the east elevation, or, oh yeah, I want to see one of the long ones. So what's going on? So those are the balconies, and are they, what's the depth of the, or the length of the projection on the balcony? Because it looked like on that one elevation, maybe to the left, if you pan over, yeah, it looks like it's quite a.
I think 6 feet.
Okay.
And they're required to be that in order to qualify for the private outdoor area, so.
Okay. And the middle balconies are what, wood guardrail, where those middle ones are? So those are open air to the right of the, in the center of the elevation, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, those are just, would probably be a typical 2x2 wood, you know, with the wood corbels below, something that makes sense for the Spanish. We talked about doing steel. We might do steel in here, although those are called out as wood guardrails, but they're drawn as steel. So that's fun.
And then that, on the ground level, that like decorative ornamental alcove is with the columns, the pilasters down there?
Yeah, so that's the entry into the stair
yeah.
area going up. We're just trying to maybe do some engaged columns or something there to make that a little more interesting. And we'll probably have a little planter area around there to kind of give it, because it's right in the driveway, so we'll try to define it and have its own space.
Okay. And the site is flat, like this elevation is showing?
Pretty flat, yeah. It's got a little slope going to the back, but pretty flat, yeah.
All right, that's my questions.
Board Member Six?
Yes, what a Rubik's Cube. You've got a good architect.
I'm glad you recognize the Rubik's Cube.
Yes, you answered my question on the balconies. Could you go to your site plan? I'm just wondering if this is worth it or not. It would seem that as you drive in, you've passed the open yard, and then there is, 8 feet of garden there. Could you curve your driveway a little bit to get some continuing planter on the fence? So you would share, it would take the straightaway of the driveway and make a little bend in it and provide some planting opportunities along the fence.
On the oak tree side?
Yeah, on the oak tree.
So like over in here?
Yeah.
You know, that line there, that shows that it actually does step in now. And so there's more room, yes, there's room to do planting all the way back. It's really only up
Okay.
against the fence
Do plan to
in the
do
front.
some planting
You do
there?
plan, okay.
You know, this
That
11/8 dimension you'll see is exactly what the trash truck requires, so we're
Okay.
kind of limited. We can't make that narrower without changing the open yard area.
One plan, I just saw a little semicircle around the oak tree. I don't know where that was on another plan.
Yeah, I think that, I'm surprised you would have seen that, but I think one of our older ones did show filling the driveway in.
But this is more accurate.
This is all existing now, we're just not doing
Just
anything. to
out
it.
of curiosity, we were very, well, at least I was on the board, we were very familiar with the builder's project because it was first not a builder's, and we carefully reviewed it several times.
Oh,
and
really?
Then they came back and just slammed the whole ground floor of parking into apartments, very upsetting. But it seems to me, well, those are comments, so, a question, what in the heck is going to happen to the half of that beautiful oak tree when they cram that thing in there? You have any idea?
Well, sorry, you go ahead.
I actually, I don't remember the site plan, I don't know how close the building is to the tree.
Yeah. If they use the existing footprint, it's gonna be just out of the line of the tree, but the tree's gonna be pretty close to the building and.
Okay, just,
Yeah, we're including
It
tree
hurts.
protection.
It
in the-
hurts.
Yeah, it does.
okay,
Yeah.
very good, thanks.
Vice Chair Whalen?
I remember that discussion about the tree, and there are appropriate setbacks for the adjacent parcel.
Okay, thanks.
But as for the planting area underneath that oak, there are very few plants that like to grow underneath oaks, but I'm sure you'll be able to find some. My concern is more with the araucaria, the star pine out the street. It's a beautiful specimen, so handsome. You may have to set that walkway back further than it is. I think, well, the symbolic trunk size, I think, is underscaled on yours. So I would think hiring an arborist, and even though the oak at the rear of the property isn't on your property, an arborist can give you an evaluation of your development for all three of those. Now, well, we can't talk about the ADU, right?
Isn't that a sidewalk though on the street? Like that's not them doing the walkway, that's the sidewalk? Did I miss?
We're required to
There
do the
isn't
city
one now.
No.
Oh,
So yes, they are adding a walkway.
gotcha.
Yeah, it's an interesting discussion. These dotted lines here, that's the existing sidewalk, and
Yeah.
we wanted an exemption from the street improvements because of the tree. And so conveniently, the transportation went to Nathan, and they decided that star pine was in fact not a good specimen, and that it wasn't worth preserving, because that would have gotten us out of having to do the street improvements. So
They
sold
need to
it.
talk to an arborist,
We have an
Yeah,
arborist
yeah,
report
there is
that
an arborist.
planning has accepted, yeah.
so they can argue internally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that to have them let us reduce our sidewalk like that at all is a big give from their standpoint.
Okay.
But it is pretty close, and yeah, we're worried about it. I mean, Abraham really likes the tree, and we don't want to lose it, but
Yeah.
our hands are forced a little bit here.
Yeah, it looks to be at least 50 years, 50
Oh, it's a
plus
100-year-old
years old.
tree. Yeah, I'm not gonna kill that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not gonna. And the actual trunk size is pretty, it's not as big as you would think. Those things get gigantic and
Yes, they can.
so we would want to give it, I agree, we would want to give it some room to
Yeah.
it get big and there, we have included that in our set of plans, a tree protection plan.
Very good.
But these trees get gigantic and it'd be cool to see it another 50 years from now, just in all of its
I think if we
glory.
pay attention to it too, and probably make it nicer than it is. It hasn't been taken care of. It needs to be trimmed.
Yeah, we're gonna
That's a pretty sizable trunk. Well,
Yeah.
it's more than the width of the ladder right there. So
Yeah.
Not to blow.
I've been looking at all the star pines in town lately, so I just have, in the grand scheme of star pines in Santa Barbara, it's on the smaller side.
So this is a good picture to pick up on my next comment. The chimney remains, right? The chimney and fireplace, you only have it on one of your elevations. It's only on, and then it magically disappears on the east and west. So just a drawing error there. But you are keeping that front portion of the house that includes the fireplace and chimney as a one-story element of your project.
We had originally planned to remove the fireplace, but it,
See what I mean, Tracy, how it magically disappears
Yes.
on east and west?
But it
It's
flags
an
it,
important
yeah.
part of the composition.
it is, it looks good.
And I like how it's reconfigured on the
Yeah.
north there to be more in the style of the Spanish colonial.
Yeah, it's an old masonry thing, so we're going to want to get rid of the chimney part and rebuild that, but we want to
You
keep
don't know if
the,
it's reinforced or what's going on
Probably
inside.
isn't, with my luck on this project.
You lucky guy.
Yeah, this whole thing has been pretty, it's such a constrained property, it's just been.
So, Will, we can't talk about the ADU, right? No. So we won't talk about if you're going to keep the slab or not, but that's another bonus that you get to
That's fun stuff.
work out. Let's see, what else? I think that everything else I have are comments. Oh, that area at the rear of the property as open yard, is that meant to have some use by the residents?
Absolutely.
this area back here?
In the
That
far back.
area, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that's the whole point. It has to be accessible to everybody.
Okay. So
that's
those are
what
my
I'm talking about.
questions.
I do not have any questions, so are there any follow-up before we go into comments? Okay, so they're here for concept, so let's hear your comments and please include your support or denial of the private open yard and story poles. Board Member Noon.
Sure. So the palette you had to work with on the street, I think the only interesting building I felt was the little cottage. Yeah, so to be compatible, I think the other direction is to go Spanish, which you did. And I think it's a wonderful approach, very supportive of the project as it's being submitted. I would also support the open yard waiver and do not feel story poles are necessary.
Great, thank you. Board Member Soffren?
I agree completely with Mr. Noon, and I think it's a great project. I think for a project to be this well designed this early is rare. So I think, like, really just done an outstanding job and complete in support of it.
Board Member Anderson?
Yeah, it seems fine. The plan and elevation look balanced, and I approved the no story pole thing. And what was the other one? The open yard modification?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the only thing I would say it didn't really kind of speak to me was the pole at the top with the curtain. I thought that was kind of a little bit, I don't know. It didn't do anything for me. It felt like kind of extra. And as far as the style direction, I feel somewhat agnostic on that in terms of the neighborhood compatibility, but I think the drawings and the overall design is good. It's exemplary for what we typically see. So, yeah, thanks.
Great, thank you. Board Member 6?
Yes, very fine, cute little project. I appreciate all the battles you've been through, and it's a great design. There was a question on concerns of privacy. It seems to me that the big Hulk neighbor is looking down on the little guy, so I don't see any issues there. And just a few little things that you might want to refine. If you look at your renderings, I'm going to kind of joke with you here, Mr. Brunel. If you go to the if you go to the south elevation, you have a cute little tree disguising your significantly cantilevered balcony. So I'd like to see some, either corbels or something to more, make it look more traditionally handled, bigger, heftier corbels. I know that you're in the middle of your openings and so forth, so that might be difficult, but you might want to look at that. And if you look at your front, the elevation with those balconies, you might, if you're raising your floor, that center entry, it looks a little short on the header, so you might want to, raise that and, have some faux arch above the actual ceiling or whatever it might affect. You see what I'm saying?
You're talking about here at the
Yeah,
entry
it's
piece?
a little squatty.
Yep.
So something there, and maybe lift your wrought iron balconies above slightly to give it a little more breathing room. And I think we've forgotten one modification. I think it's entirely acceptable, and to have the AC condensing units in the position you've had, and can easily support the exemption for that, as well with not needing story poles, and the exemption for the non-protected open area.
Great, thank you. Vice Chair Whalen?
Yes, thank you, Chair Anderson. To reiterate Mr. Six's adjective, cute, very cute. And I'm completely supportive of the direction that you're headed with the following comments. I am in favor of the fence waiver for the private open yard, and I'm in favor of the waiver for the story poles. And then don't forget the damn transformer or backflow. You sat through that painful.
I was gonna say we can put the AC condensers out there too if you guys want.
On the street, how's that?
Yeah.
Paint them and
We like that, you can tell. But wait till the last minute.
bring the funk zone out there.
We've got an electrical engineer on board already. I don't think we're going to have to do a transformer.
Pound on him, yeah, good.
We're going to have a big switch gear on the wall, but that's what you got.
I would commend you on your engineering plans for that stormwater retention. You're way out in front of that, and it looks like that's going to work very well for you. And in general, it's a nice mix of both Monterey style and Spanish colonial revival. Keep adding those details to it. I think I would agree with Mr. Six. The stairway entry, looking at the 3 stairwell openings, the one on the ground floor should be the Papa Bear, and then get smaller openings as you go up. And then looking at this elevation, there's a beautiful symmetry on the left side of the project, and then that kind of falls apart on the right-hand side. I know you've struggled with that in plan, if there were a way that could sort itself out, but I'm getting really picky about that. I do think the project is compatible with the neighborhood size, bulk, and scale. I went over there and looked around. Majority of them are small, one-story, but I think this will blend well with what's on your side of the street and that the terrible neighbor that's coming next door. The bike lockers seem to be in a very awkward space. As a bicyclist, I imagine myself navigating either down the backside of the building or through the carport and negotiating them in there. You might give that some attention. Is that the right place and configuration? And also, as somebody who rented for most of my life, the laundry building looks terribly difficult to access. Like, I'm going to have to take my bags of dirty laundry, navigate around the cars, and get back there. So, and I don't know how you fix that, and that's not really our purview, unless you talk about quality of life and living in apartments. You might consider, and looking back at this east elevation, you might consider varying the roof ridge. Perhaps it bumps up a little over that center point or to the left or right. Just something to break up that roof line ridge. And those balconies that, as Mr. Six pointed out, they look like they're going to need a lot of structural support. In terms of privacy from the development that's yet to come, you might consider some sort of solid railing rather than the posts, if that's really what you're after, is the privacy element. And then for the use of the open area in the rear, I like the arrangement of blockading it with the giant rocks, and certainly leaving a pathway that invites people into it and creates some place. I'm a little bit concerned that the freeway noise is going to compromise any of the sort of bucolic elements you might enjoy back there, but that's just a condition of living there, and you can't change that.
Move the 101 over a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, and on that point, you stated that there's a 250-foot setback. The parcel, the project is all within that 101 setback? Okay.
Yep.
Didn't see that line.
We do have a sound wall at that portion of 101, so it's maybe a little better.
A little better. Let's see, I think I've covered all of my points here. Oh, you might consider bumping up the dimension of the posts that support the arcade, the entry arcade on your. No.
Are they replacing those?
Yeah, they'll be new.
You just want to make
Go to
them.
8 by 8s maybe.
Yeah, some maybe a little overscale to really give it that Spanish colonial heft. I think those are all of my comments. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I completely agree with everything everyone has said today. It's a wonderful project. Thank you for doing all of your homework and coming here with the majority of it figured out. And it's a really beautiful project. I would say continue studying the covered bike parking and potentially trying to get rid of the lockers. They're just unfortunate. So I don't know if you can, I know on some projects you can get a covered bike parking that's like an exempt from using a locker. So I know it's one more exemption and one more waiver, but it might be something to look at.
It's absolutely allowed, but it's shocking the sizes they require.
I know, the 2x6.
Like, we had it back there, and it's like, wait a minute, you need 5 more feet? Yeah, 2 people have to go by. It's like, there's only 4 people here. It's okay.
Well, bicycles are getting bigger and bigger.
And we couldn't make them work.
Not to negate your point.
Okay.
It's really, and it was in the creek setback. That's where we ended up.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So, you know.
Bummer.
Everywhere we turn, we're just like
I know.
against a wall.
Yeah, okay. I don't like that rule, but that's besides the point.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with going with steel on the guardrails in the stairwell. I think that'd be a nice complement to the wood that's everywhere else. Just something to consider. I'm also in support of no story poles and the waiver for the protected private open yard. I thought I had something else. Yeah, I just think it's a really nice project, and you've done a lot. And I think it's a testament to what other applicants should do in the future to actually talk to their neighbors and let them know what they're doing.
Yeah, well, it's important.
Yes, it's important to be neighborly in Santa Barbara. Anyways, I think it's a great project. I would actually support it coming back for project design and final approval at the same time, if anyone would be open to that.
Yes.
Okay, who would like to make the motion?
I'll make a motion for indefinite continuance back to the full board for project design approval and the potential final approval at that time, with the following comments: that the project, considering the constraints of the site, is very well resolved, and the architecture is appropriate, compatible, and well-designed. Minor comments would be to more traditionally beef up the structure of the extended balconies, to increase the height of the center stair opening between the garage openings, the board is supportive of wrought iron in the openings above that entry. That if there is a way to better accommodate the bicycles and lockers, I'm going to interject off the record. Could you, being that the fence line planting is in shade, could that be a possible place for the bicycle lockers if they were approached open from the side? I don't know. That's,
You mean along the drive?
along the drive, along the fence. You don't think so?
Do you want us to do that or not?
Anyway, it's just off the record. But to continue, that the board is in support of the various waivers. Number one, the private
Open yard?
open yard. Thank you. For the front unit is acceptable without enclosure. The condenser units being short of their required setback is acceptable. And what was the one of the open yard?
Story poles.
Oh, story poles. Absolutely no need for story poles. And did I miss anything?
Oh, I'll second. On the waiver for the private open yard, it would be for both, right? For both open yards or just the front one?
Oh, it's both, yes. Both open yards, correct? Private yard.
We don't need to have, because you were saying something about the boulders versus a fence.
Yeah, I think to be safe, we should call that a waiver.
Both,
To me,
yeah.
that meets the intent of the planter.
If we
but-
change the front to both of the open yard.
I have a point of discussion also, since we may not see this again and grant final next time. Could you go to the elevations really quick? You've got a lot of lines around the windows. Just if you could, verbally describe how you intend to detail the window. I assume it's a recessed plaster, the typical. What we would.
Yeah, I think we'll end up with 2x6 walls, and so we can, depending on the window we choose, probably set it back in and try and get a little return into it. Be nice. I think Abe has indicated that he would rather have clear windows. We have indications of cut lights, but rather have clear, but that's kind of a minor shift.
Yeah. Okay.
Window frame type, wood or aluminum or steel? Aluminum clad.
What is it?
Vinyl?
Fiber,
Vinyl?
no, vinyl. It's
Fiberglass.
Fiberglass.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like this happy
Right.
little medium.
Fibrex?
No, fiberglass.
Fiberglass, yeah.
It doesn't warp in the sun. It's a lot longer lasting, but it's just like a little bit more affordable than an aluminum.
Yeah, their dark colors don't really last as long, so you might want to look at that. The dark frame fiberglass.
Yeah, they come in paintable now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you can paint them.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, let's,
So those last discussions, do we need to put that in the motion? Let's add that we expect the detailing to reflect the classic Spanish character that is imagined in these sketches.
yes. Second. Okay, let's take a vote.
Chair Anderson,
Yes.
Vice Chair Whalen,
Yes.
Board Member Noon,
Yes?
Board Member Six,
Yes.
Board Member Sovereign,
Yes.
Board Member Anderson,
Yes.
motion passes.
Great, well, thank you.
Thanks, you guys.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. That was awesome.
Okay, we will adjourn our meeting for the year today.
All right, thank you. Meeting's over.